Gonna have to do something about that, so I might arrange to just cut this bit off here and have that there, in which case I need to have something here. I don't really want to space the backboard off the wall, and I could be tempted to cut a hole in the wall where that goes, just so as it's a recess, but I don't think I will do that. What I didn't show on the video was the fact that this end and this end weren't square, so I've had to square that up, and I've done that out here on the deck. I clamp that down with a G-clamp there and a bit of wood. I want to keep the face clean. And I used a dreadnought file, so it looks extremely coarse, but it's very, very nice. Gives a nice finish on the end. Where this sun's bright, I can't see a thing. Sorry, that's it's somewhere there. Anyway, I've got to polish it up a bit. But what I wanted to show was how I use the materials that I've got. That's the back of that. I use the materials I've got to suggest the design of this little clock. A lovely bird song. So those will hold it in place. What I didn't show you was I tested the depth of that. That's set on a stand. I tested that on the back of that one to get it right. So this is what it's looking like so far, and so I've got that as a little feature. I'm quite happy with that, but you'll see how it shapes up. What I'm going to do now is I'm actually going to use this to hold this. I'm going to take this boss out again, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to put a little groove round the back of there, and then put something like a circlip on it, or a C-clip, so that when it goes back in there, I can take this off, put it on, put the C-clip round, and then poke it in, and that'll hold it. Say, if you remember originally, I was going to put a screw in either the side or the top, but the materials have suggested something else to me, so that's what I'm going to do. Okay, I've cut that off, and that'll go in my tat box, because that'll come in useful for something else one day. And then gosh, sorry about that. Hopeless with the focus on this thing. What I'll do is I've got some thread lock material. It's like nail varnish. I'll put on that. I can't get it any tighter than it is, but I just want to make sure it doesn't come undone. So what I've done is I've marked that up for the thickness of the board, and again, apologies for the focus, but I do find this camera miserable. And now I'm going to cut a little groove in there. I'll probably just run a file around it, or a saw. What I will do is I'll put some ink over these bearings, a bit of sellotape, so that I don't get rubbish in there. I've just filed a little groove around there, a little triangular file. Then what I'm going to do, I'm going to open up this spring and then just make one loop, so as it goes in and fits like a C-clip. Okay, so there's the wire, so I've just used a pair of round nose pliers just to shape it up a little bit, and then this is going to go into there, and then my little spring clip is going to go, oops, on the floor. Well, I found that easier than I thought. It's like the bottom of a baby's pram down there. So that'll go on there. Try not to get a face full of spring jumping about. And then that's the first time I've had it on there, but you can see that. You probably think it's awfully dark in my workshop, but it really isn't. Okay, so that is not going to pull out, so I'm not going to rebait this hole. I'm just going to let this go in there, and then the pressure will all just help to push that spring into the right place. That's the theory anyway. I've actually revisited that groove. I went in with a junior hacksaw because I thought at least then it'll have a sort of square bottom to the groove. So just to update you. As I say, I do apologise for any bits that are out of focus, but I do find it very tricky with this little camera. I said I wasn't going to rebate the back of this. I lied. I decided to do it. I think as an inventor I've never been limited by being stuck to what I said I was going to do, or what other people have asked me to do, or indeed what other people have told me to do. And here I've got that little C-clip in place, and you can see I've put the that thread lock stuff all over it. And just as a reminder for myself, April 2012. We'll pop that in there. And then some might say it would have made more sense to have put these screws in from the back, and I'll do that up with a bigger screwdriver in a minute so as I don't scratch the heads, to have drilled into the back of the tuffnel if I was going to have the tuffnel there at all. But I actually want the screws to show, believe it or not. This reminds me of my my working past. I worked with it. This is Paxolin. I used a lot of that for making big transformers. What I will do is I'll cover the back of this with something, because somebody may choose to live in there. And I've just noticed, of course, there is a hole all the way through, because when this was a pickup arm, the little leads for the crystal went through there, so I'll just block those off. It's just to stop anybody getting in, any little spiders, whatever. Not that I think it's going to be that precision, but it's just for completeness. Right, I'll put a little self-tapping screw in that hole, so nothing's going to get through there. When I said this was a junk box special, I really meant it. This is the wood I've got for my pendulum, and I can't even see the back of the camera in the sunshine out here. And I've selected a bit that's got grain that looks pretty consistent rather than running off. So I'm going to chop a new pendulum off. But this bit of wood actually come from there. I've just replaced the fascias and soffits and some of the rendering, as you can see. And this bit of wood is one of the offcuts from that. I'm actually cutting the pendulum at 1.2 meters, which is longer than I want, but I work on the assumption I can always cut a bit off rather than add a bit back on. And it's a lovely day to be working out here. I should be getting on with the painting and finishing the rendering work. It's a piece of macro on there as an end stop. And,